Connecting your buildings together, what you can do to make sure that they're connected and don't leak. What I'm going to do is put a gutter up there eventually, and I'm going to obviously make a little room here. It's going to be 10 by 4, and what you need to know is one of my friends who's an engineer but anyway, you can read this up on a book about how to construct. If you're going to put some joists down here, the best thing to do is put the biggest one you can. So this is a 2 by 6, which worked out good. But when I ordered some of these joist hangers, they sent me 2 by 4 joist hangers, so I had to use 2 by 4 joist hangers, and that'll work because, as I told you, that engineer friend of mine told me if you got a 2 by 4, it can go 4 foot. If it's got a 2 by 6, it can go 6 foot, and then you have to put something underneath it to hold, to make sure it doesn't bend or whatever. So it's a 2 by 4, you can go 4 foot. If you get 2 by 6, 6 foot, a 2 by 8, 8 foot, and then put something underneath it to hold it up. So that's what he told me at one time. And so I put a double joist here for this one, and the reason for that is because the plate will go on top of here like that, and the wall will go up so as for you to obviously put the siding on there. Now, one of the things I wanted to make sure, if you can see carefully here, there's some nails here, so I'm gonna nail it there. Obviously, I'm gonna have to go this way a little bit on a slant there to make sure that it's in there. On this side, I put in a screw there, and to make sure that it hit a 2 by 4 on the other side, on the inside, and it didn't. So I had to put a 2 by 4 on the inside to make sure that I have, something to nail or screw the screw in. And so the only dilemma that I see is that I ordered the opening 4 foot wide, and I should have ordered it like 3 foot or whatever, because it's going to be harder to cover it up once I put the roof, the ceiling and roof out there. But it'll work out, I guess. You can see that when they delivered it, you might see that they made a little hole there. And one of the things that I talked about when they were delivering it is they brought one guy to deliver it, and so he had to do all these things, and he had to get off and on and off and on, adjust the wings they have on the little cart they use. And I think it's just what happens is it's just too much for one guy to do. I think they need one guy to help out with the unloading, and that's one thing I recommend. I called up and said, I'm not complaining, I'm just recommending you to do that, because one of the other things that we did was we made some holes so as to do a pier and beam, but they didn't put it exactly where we wanted to because it was only one guy, and he was doing it by himself, and so I didn't really want to make a big deal about it. So me and my wife dug those holes so as to put concrete and pier and beams, but since he was by himself, he couldn't really, get any directions where he was at. And although he did a good job, those holes that we dug really came to no fruition, and they didn't really help us out at all. I guess we can still use them, but one thing I do recommend is to put pier and beams. That's what I recommend, because all the weight of these buildings is on the sides, because that's where the roof is going to have its weight in, all the 2 by 4s, all the siding, all the sheetrock and everything, and they'll kind of make a little curvature. So, sometimes what they do in the middle is they allow it to be like an inch higher than the rest. That way it'll kind of gradually sink in and all balance out. That's what they told me. But I think it's best to just put pier and beams if you can. Well, because obviously that'll hold it up a lot better. I wish we would have dug holes here to put pier and beams on this particular house here, but it'll hold. I just was hoping we would do something else. The only thing is that you don't know exactly where they're going to put it, and this, that, or the other, and if I dig all the holes like we did over here, then are they going to put it at the right place, and did I put the holes in there. So you need somebody to direct the guy who's installing it. That way they put it exactly where you want to put it, and they match where your holes. Now, I would recommend you go to the Dirksen building site when they're building it and measure where the joists and the bottoms are, and that way you can tell where you need to dig the holes. Come and dig the holes, and then you can tell them to deliver your cabin. That's what I would do. But the bricks will hold it up. I just don't like them, but hey, they work, and that's one thing you need to make sure that it's level, and because they need to bring your building and take it. They usually have two of them, so they have another one they have to deliver, and so make sure that you're there, and that you make sure that they're leveling it, and they do a good job. I'm just saying that in order to feel comfortable, just make sure